What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I got some new news reporting Gennady Golovkin. The topic at hand is, who will he fight next? You know, the fight must go on. There's many guys that Gennady Golovkin can fight. Canelo is out. Someone else has to be in. Gennady Golovkin has to make a good account of himself why he still has the time to. Okay, I said the same thing about Manny Pacquiao. Fighters like that were so, because I think Manny Pacquiao's way past his prime, but Gennady Golovkin is stepping into those same footsteps. He's 36 years old, or he will be pretty soon. Okay, and he will be on the night of the fight. He will be 36 years old. He's still almost the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. There are many guys, again, to fight in the middleweight division. So we got to just look over a few. The number one on the roster that I would pick would be Billy Joe Saunders. He has the WBO. That would, if he beats Billy Joe Saunders, that would put him in the bracket as one of the undisputed champions of the world. And no one has done that since Jermaine Taylor. And that's been a minute now. A lot of people don't realize that fight, that particular point in time, Jermaine Taylor had all the belts at one point of time. Okay. And, that was short-lived. But that is one of Gennady Golovkin said to be goals, is to get all the belts. If he gets Billy Joe Saunders, he can get that belt. If Billy Joe Saunders is not available to fight him, which I think that fight could happen. Okay. I would put him in there after that with Jermall Charlo. Jermall Charlo should be the next person up, if not Billy Joe Saunders. The reason for it, he's the number one mandatory. Okay, so if you don't take the fight with Canelo Alvarez, which won't happen now, because Canelo Alvarez had a rematch clause in his contract. Okay, so since that's out, he should fight the number one guy. Okay, if not a unification. Jermall Charlo is a big, heavy guy, young, strong lion, full of wit, full of charisma, full of confidence. A lot of people calls him cocky, but he's hungry. Okay, so a lot of people can misconstrue cockiness with hungriness. He's hungry. That dude wants to show that he's the best, and he'll fight anybody. He'll fight Billy Joe. He'll fight Danny Jacobs, which I can't wait to see that fight. And then he'll fight a lot of these guys. So yes, Jermall Charlo should be the guy in the ring, if not Billy Joe Saunders. The last guy should be Ramirez from 168. And I look at that, I'm like, oh, that's kind of going off the beaten path, because you have a guy that's in another weight class and you want him to fight, unless this particular guy can come down and weight. But why would he want to do that if he's a champion? Just to fight Golovkin. Not saying just to fight Golovkin, because Golovkin has a name. However, he has his own weight class, and he has to obtain his own, rules and regulations in his own weight class. So for me, seeing Gennady Golovkin going up to 168, I just don't see that. Bob Arum threw this big Mexican in the mix, and he's a hard-hitting Mexican. I would like to see it. Ramirez, I think it's Gilberto Ramirez, I believe his name is. And I would like to see the fight. I would like to see it, because, I remember the sparring between Gennady Golovkin and Chavez Jr. And I remember Gennady Golovkin was able to hit those bigger guys more often because they were slower, okay? And then he's just as tough that he can withstand the punching from a bigger dude, because he's just that dude. He's built like that. I don't know if he necessarily likes to take punches, because I know he doesn't. He doesn't like to take big punches from guys. He likes to take punches, but not big, hard-hitting punches from big guys. You know what I'm saying? I noticed that against the Stevenson fight and the Lemieux fight, and the Jacobs fight. He does not like to take those huge punches. He can take them, though. That's the point. He has a granite chin. So any of these fights will do for Golovkin, but I don't really see Golovkin hanging around much longer. So if I was him, if I was his advisor, his manager, or whatever, I would tell him to go for Billy Joe Saunders, because that is what you want to accomplish, is the undisputed championship of the world, and to beat the title defenses of Bernard Hopkins, or at least tie with them. Okay, so And I know Bernard Hopkins has vested interest, of him not getting that record because that would be, hindering his own legacy in there. So, Gennady Golovkin also, mind you, he's fighting on Cinco de Mayo weekend. So him by himself will have to carry the whole popularity of a Mexican fighter. He has a lot of Mexican fans, but he needs to fight another Mexican. So I can understand why they're putting Ramirez in there because he's Mexican, of course. But also, Gennady Golovkin, I feel, can do it. I think, in Vegas, he can do a lot better than he did in Madison Square Garden because there's just more Mexican fans that he has, and it makes sense. It's almost like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. adopted him, from his fighting style. You know what I mean? He's just like a bigger, stronger, I wouldn't say better, but bigger and stronger Chavez. You know what I'm saying? With hooks to the body and uppercuts and the way he cuts off the ring and so forth. So, yeah, I like the fact that Gennady Golovkin hasn't decided to just, hey, forget it, because he's a professional athlete. He did nothing wrong. He wasn't the one that was popped with Glenbuterol or any kind of ped use or any of that. He did everything he's supposed to do to nullify a fight, so he deserves a good fight. So these are the three guys that I put into mention. You guys tell me what you think about that. Unless you guys have someone else that he can come with, please tell me in the comments below. Please subscribe. Until then, you guys been counterpunched. Peace.